Hello everyone, and welcome back to BGM Studios for another DCC tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a Bill and Ben DCC tutorial. So we experimented first with Bill, and then decided Bill was pretty difficult, so my dad suggested, hey, you should do a video on this, and I said, well, you're the one who explains it the best, so I figured I'd let him take over, and I just sort of did the filming, and you'll get to see Ben be fitted with a DCC decoder, and you'll get to see him run.
Alright, well, we're going to be putting the decoder in the Bachmann Ben today. So we're going to start and show you how we did it. We've already done Bill and learned some of the ins and outs of it, so when we do Ben, we'll be able to go through it a lot quicker for you. Alright, we're going to start by taking out the body screws for this. There's 4 of them underneath here that are hidden right behind the pistons, and there's 2 right in front of here. We're also going to take these couplers off. Sometimes these can be a little bit tricky. You may have to pull the coupler itself out and watch the springs don't go flying. So we'll try that first. We'll take the coupler arm off here first. To get these springs off, I like to use an X-Acto knife. It helps prevent them from flying. Just slice in between it a little bit to hold it. And you should be able to twist this up. Just turned that and that popped, and as you can see we still have control of that spring, so slice into it and we should be able to pick that up out of here relatively easy. Alright, can also just stick a little screwdriver in here. Alright, being a little bit difficult. There's the spring. We like to use little containers to keep everything together. Same thing on the front one here. Just pull it back past that little tab in there. Turn this slightly. Pull that up. And it's easier to do this now than it is when the coupler's loose, because it will not come through the body otherwise. There we go. This screwdriver might be the big one.
I think it is.
Yep, need a smaller one.
I think it's on the tray.
Yep. Alright, now we got the right size screwdriver. This is a double-aught. There we go. There's the screw. We like to put down an old towel. White ones are the best because you can really see what's on it, and stuff doesn't really go bouncing if it hits the towel. Cushions it a little bit if it does fall. There's the screw. And this coupler blade's got to come through backwards. Okay, now we're ready for the body screws. Once again, you should be able to see them right in here.
I think you need a little screwdriver for that one.
Yep. Same screwdriver, the double-aught. still in there, but we'll get to those. They'll come out. Probably just need a few more turns. All right, that's one. And if you want to, you can even bag these things, these screws individually and mark them so you know exactly where they go back in. So you don't try to put the wrong size screw in the hole and stuff. Since we've done this once, it's not so hard to do it this way. All right, we got the 4 screws out. Now the body should come off of here easy. Bill gave us a little more hassle. Well, this one's doing the same thing. So you can't really pull this open too easy to get this off. Sometimes they will come straight down, but this one's not happening. So what we did is there's 2 screws that are right up under the base plate here. Now you may have to pull down a little bit on it because the printed circuit board holds it up, but with these thin screwdrivers you should be able to get right in here. Again, this is that double aught. That one should be loose. We'll do the same over here. Hold that back. It should give you just enough room to get in there straight. All right, those 2 screws fell right back out. They're the same size as the other ones. So now if we push this closed, we should be able to just tip this all the way forward. Now there's a tab up front here that we gotta make sure it comes up without breaking it. But at this point, this should tip down a little bit, and that allows that body to come forward from the face. You have to pull this down in order for this tab. So you don't want to break this, so don't force anything. But you can see how it all just came right apart, and it's pretty quick to do. Okay, next steps are taking off this printed circuit board. 1 screw right on the top. And now we can start unsoldering some things. So we'll heat the iron up and be right back. All right, we're gonna, before we start taking this decoder out, we're gonna mark the color coding just so we remember as we do this. This side's the orange wire, so I'll put a no on here. And on this side, put a B, R. And if you got room, put the N. So now we got brown. And then we're gonna disconnect the black and red wires for the pickup right from the circuit board and leave those on for a little while so we know which ones to do underneath when we feed the wires back through when we take the wheels off. All right, let's see if the unit's heated up yet. This is twisting. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let's start on this side. that's the orange. While we're over here, we're going to take off these two filtering capacitors because they can really mess up the RF signal on the decoders. They're not needed because the decoders have their own filtering. That's one. And there's two. On to the other side. Pardon my arm. Same thing over here. Brown wire first. That's one. Okay, those are off. Now, as promised, we're going to take the red and black wire right off the printed circuit board just for reference later. So, let me do this a little bit different way here. Right here on the inside. You know what? Let me hold this with these. These little helping hands are really great to use. Actually, the red wire already came out, but okay. So now we're actually ready to clean off a little bit of the solder. Looks like a little bit of a piece of wire in there. A little trick we did when we did Bill, and you don't have to do this, it's just something we do just for a place to mount this decoder if you really want to in place of this. We've got a little scrap piece of wood from a little building kit that we had. This one happens to be the exact width that we need. We're just going to put it under here. We bent this capacitor up. You'll notice there's two holes. There's a large one and there's a little one for the locating pin here. That'll keep this thing from twisting. So I'm going to find the right drills and we'll be right back for it. And I'm just going to hold this with a little pin vise and mark it and drill down through this thing. Let me see if this is the right size drill that I have already. Yep, this appears to be the one. So what I can do is just hold this just like this and just go right down in here. I know my hands are in the way. Try to do this so you can see what I'm doing. Just hold that, mark that a little bit. So now we have that marked. I can just hold this and drill this through. I don't think that's quite centered. Hang on. Now that moved on me. Let me just do this. that's better. Just make sure you've got it somewhat centered. And don't drill through your fingers. Alright, that came out the other side. So now, what I can do is take this one. Actually, I think I got a smaller one here. Yep, there it is here. So I have two different size pin vices and drills. So I'm going to use this one from the back side to hold that center. You can see it pop up through. I'll get this orange and brown wire out of the way. Hold that somewhat centered and just go right down through this. I think you guys can see that. Okay, and that should be done. So now we can test fit this just to make sure that it goes on here where we want it. And if you notice, I put this screw off separately that we took back out of here, just so that I can have one to put right back in here. And hopefully it's straight enough that it fit right in. You don't need to get too tight with this stuff. Just snug it up. And now we'll have a place for the decoder. All right, we're gonna get the decoder out and be right back. All right, we're back here. It doesn't matter whose decoder you use. We just happen to have good luck with this Digitrack DZ123. They also make the DZ126T, which is a little bit thinner than this one, but it's pretty much very close to the same length and width on it. It's just thinner this way. So if you're doing anything smaller, a Z-scale or an N-scale locomotive, you can use that one. So what we're going to use here is we're going to look for the orange and gray wire. That's why we marked the orange and brown. So the orange is going to orange on this motor, and of course the gray one's going to go in place of the brown wire. And all that information is on the directions with the unit. So the only thing we're going to use, there's no lighting on this unit. We have used lighting for some of the other Thomas characters. We actually put some very small lights in. We did not do a video on that, but we might here in the future. If there's interest, just drop a note and we can help you out with that. It's a little complicated, and you do need some very small LEDs and some resistors on some of them. So, but we can show you that. All right, we are going to cut these orange and gray wires so that they're really pretty close to where we want them to be, just so we have some room to work. We're going to leave a little bit of excess to allow for any mistakes and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and fit these and cut these, and we'll be right back. Okay, just to give you a little idea of how much we measured. We're about 1 5/8 on the orange wire. That's not real critical, and we're about anywhere between 2.5 and 2 5/8 on this one too. Just, yeah, and it can vary a little bit. Like I said, I'm leaving a little bit of excess. So let me strip these. And that's too short, huh?
Yeah, it's a little short.
That's probably good. Whoa. brush is at, but I have put stuff around there too. Okay, we need to do this.
Okay.
All right, we're back. What we're going to do now is we've stripped the ends of these about 1/8 inch. You don't want to get them excessive in length. That's about 1/8. This one's about 3/8 of an inch. So it's not a lot. Actually, not 3/8, 3/16.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. And we're also going to tin these. Now, you don't want to overheat the wires because it'll shrink the insulation as you go. That's another reason you really don't want to strip them too far as well. Okay, just like that, you'll notice there's just a little bit of solder on there, and that's all you really want. I did twist these with my finger a little bit just to put them around there. Help keep them together so you're not trying to stick frays in. All right, let me swing this way. If I can get these wires up out of the way. You also notice I put a little piece of black tape around that little holder we made. That was the reason I did that, so that you'd be able to hold that thing in place as you're working. I'm just going to feed these wires through here temporarily while I work. All right, pliers, soldering iron. Now there is a little hole in here.
Ooh. Oh, another tripod. Let's go.
All right, we took out these 3 screws in the bottom plate. We're just going to lift this one up here. We're going to try to lift it up. All right, we'll do it the easier way. Just pick it up with the wheels. Now, you do want to be careful because there are contacts from these wheels. You'll see these 4 little contacts that ride on the inside of these wheels. If we want to, we could actually leave these in place without taking the motor and stuff out and try and just unsolder these contacts. The red and black wire should be loose in here. So we should be able to pull this down through here, just like this. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna feed this red and black. Let's get these 3 up out of the way for the moment. Try and feed these down through the front here if we can. We may have to lift this motor up, but I don't think so. They're coming.
Here comes the black one. At least the red one went the wrong way.
Okay. And there they are. So we didn't have to take everything apart, which saves a little bit of a headache. Let's pull these out and neaten the wires up a little bit. So now we've got the red and the black down through here. I left a lot more excess of this when we did build, but I think we're gonna reduce that here so we don't have to try to tuck wires. I'm gonna cut off probably about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think 2 inches would be plenty to cut off. It'll give us room to work with it up here and then just shove this back up in. I mean, we could even trim off a little more, to be honest with you. Yeah, let's trim it down to 2.5, which is right about here, just to make sure. Yep, close enough. Now the only problem is it makes it harder to strip. But here's what I'll do. I'll pull these back through, strip these one at a time. Probably wondering why I'm putting this on here, and I'll show you in a minute. Since these wires are a little bit delicate, they tend to, this crimper tends to crush the insulation. I'm just trying to prevent that since this is the pickup. Yep, slip that. This will be edited.
Yep.
Well, we're just going to try to be careful with this. See, it's not gripping it. Hold on. All right, we'll try this again. Just wrapping a little guard around this so I don't totally crush the insulation. Okay, that's one. As you can see, it didn't leave any marks with this. It just helps distribute some of the pressure on this since these wires are so delicate. Okay, two stripped. Soldering iron should be hot. Quick tinning. All right, try to feed these back down through.
What is it?
Okay. Now, this is why we left the black and red wires on, so we know exactly where to replace them. So we're going to take this black one first. And this you definitely don't want to keep heat on very long because it's surrounded by the plastic. Hit it and get off there. Now, I am going to trim down these. I did purposely leave these a little bit long, but I'm going to trim them short enough. Slide this in close. I might have to lift a little bit. Hold it in place. Same thing with the red one here. It's off. Okay, quick trim.
To your left. To my left. There you go.
Shorten that up. Switch hands here. Okay, and success. All right, unplug this. I can get this out of the way. Now this will have to flip back over. Let me flip this up so we can work and see this. Now this will twist to come back down. We'll deal with the wires inside in a minute here.
Oh.
Yep, just knock these out. These just slide back in. All right, try this again. Okay, we need to put this in. You still see it?
Yeah.
Let me swing this up because gravity's fighting me. Okay, slide this one in this way. It's down in that little hole. Same thing over here. Might pop out that other one. Yep, I did. Get this in place first. And I knocked the other side out again. It's stuck down inside there. Okay, that's one. Okay, that's both of those. So now we'll swing these back up. Gears go up front. And that should all be in place. Now, we've got these to deal with. And just a little trick you can do is any one of these old cards, lay this down inside here, like this. Slowly get one side of this in on this side, these contacts, and then just push these down against this. It's just a little helper. Don't, whatever you do, try not to bend these things. There we go, we'll lay that right up against her like that. And one popped out over here. But what I can do is just take a little screwdriver, hold this in place, push this back into position, push that down in, and they should all be right there.
Yeah. No, we lost one.
Yes, we did. Well, one's not so bad. Oh, there's the other one. I think we're still good. Okay. Now, I kept those 3 screws here. I dropped one. I dropped it again. All right, we'll try the center one first. These things should go in pretty easy. Now let me just make sure that this isn't, feels Looks like one wire's pinched under here. Get this out of the way. This isn't quite fitting where I want it to, so I'm going to double check this, take this back off. We can start over.
The back looks a little twisted. It's hard to see it.
But I think that's what's holding us up underneath there.
Yeah.
Okay, same trick. Okay. Okay. Well, found the problem. The gear goes to mesh on this side. So I gotta pull this all out again, flip this over. Okay, third time's the charm. Fits perfect now. Okay, align the holes, drop that in. And we're going to be ready for the test as soon as I get these other screws in, so we'll see you back then. Okay, we're just putting the two cap screws back in the base here before we put it together. Not too tight, just enough to keep it on. Okay, now what we've done is we've wrapped this in a coil and I just put tape around it to keep it out of the way. This has to tuck in around the side and these wires have to stay low on the motor. Make sure that this is towards the back here because it makes it a little tougher to get it past this bar on the inside here, but it will go. And don't force it, it has to go pretty easy. And you'll see here. You will notice we have the face off. It does make it a lot easier to get this back together that way. And that pops off from the inside. There's just these two little tabs and then this one on the bottom. Hopefully this goes down on pretty easy. Just take your time. Front up a little bit first. There it is. here, I think. Has to go up just a hair. Let me take a little wiggle. I think that looks all right.
It's pretty good to me.
Okay. Before I put any of these other base screws in, we're going to go give it a quick test on the track, so we'll see you back here in a minute.
Okay, so that's our test run of Bill and Ben together. It's not too difficult to put back together, you know, just the screws there. I believe that we went over this. Cab screws there, and then we actually pop the face off, and he mentioned that, but we didn't show it being put back together. We were just kind of in a hurry, put it back together. So you pop the face off, just make sure you get the eyes aligned correctly, and the face should just pop right in, and then it'll run pretty well after that. If you want to see a tutorial on like how I program these guys to run and everything, I know there's tons and tons of them, but I would like to, if anybody wants to know how I do it, and what sort of stuff I use, just let me know in the comments as always. And if you want to see more DCC tutorials, let us know who we should do next. We have done Thomas, Edward, James, Duck, Diesel, Rosie and her red form. We might actually be doing a video on Rosie very soon. We experimented and put some lights in Thomas. You can see that there, and I'll go over this in a video all to itself because I don't want to spoil what's behind there. Yeah, so let us know what engine we should do next. We're planning on doing Percy, Toby, Oliver, Mavis, and Salty are some of our biggest contenders for the next round. Waiting on the tender engines because we might experiment with some DCC sound, but we're waiting for some programming modules to come back in stock so that we can actually order them and do that. So in the near future, you might see a tutorial on DCC sound with Gordon. Gordon will be the first one for DCC sound. And then Henry, Spencer, we've got Donald and Douglas, and possibly Emily. Maybe Emily. I know no one has ever tried to DCC Emily, so I really, really think that would be a good video. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Let us know, again, which engines you'd like to see next, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.